Welcome back to Student Pages Spotlight Series. I'm your host, Izzy, and today we're joined by the incredibly talented Finn Forster. Thank you so much for joining us, and how are you doing today?
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm really good. Really, really nice to be here.
Yeah, amazing. 10 a.m. on a Thursday morning.
Yeah, to be honest, I've been getting up quite early anyway, like most mornings to head to Newcastle. So it's nice to have gotten
Mm,
a little bit of a break before
yeah,
I head to the studio today. So it's nice to
good
switch
stuff.
things up a bit.
Good stuff. Well, we'll jump into the questions then, if that's okay.
Yeah,
So can you give us a little bit of background on how you got into the music industry in the first place and why you chose to go down this path?
yeah. To be honest, it was a bit of a mad one. I kind of flipped the pandemic situation on its head
Mm.
and used it to my own advantage the best I possibly could. I look back now and honestly, I don't really think I've, I would like to have thought that I would have ended up in a similar sort of situation if we hadn't have had lockdown, but it's really difficult to see now because 2020 gave me the ability to kind of really zoom out from everything and put
Mm.
a pause and stop on my life, which at the time before the pandemic was just kind of relentlessly out gigging like multiple times a day, probably doing like sometimes doing like 3 to 4 hour and a half sets a day in different pubs all around the northeast. So I was kind of really busy with everything, but then I never had a direction or a plan with anything. And it
Mhm.
wasn't until 2020 that kind of really allowed me to kind of zoom out, actually like look inwards and go, right, what am I actually doing here as an artist? If
Mhm.
I want to be an artist, and I mean, I had like a song out, I think, but didn't really do anything with it. I didn't have a clue. Um, and then I just kind of went a bit mad online and taught myself everything I possibly could in terms of what needed to be done um, in within to be an artist, really. And
Yeah.
it kind of led me to making a bit of momentum by myself. But then looking back now, it was only kind of the very, very start. And it gravitated me towards my now manager, who had a lot of experience and is kind of came on board since 2022. And then, yeah, it's just kind of grown and grown and grown from there. It's been a bit mad. It's good.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So you've got your latest single, Pablo, coming out soon, I believe, November
Yeah.
14th. How has that writing experience helped your creative like progress?
Been great, to be honest. I think songwriting for me, it's something I've done since I was 16 years old. Um, it came very, very naturally to me, songwriting, in terms of I remember picking the guitar up only really as a tool to accompany creativity that I wanted to express in the form of songwriting, I think. Which is a bit mad looking back because I remember picking a guitar up and only really knowing 2 chords or 3 chords, and then instantly wanting to just start writing a song,
Mhm.
which I feel like it wasn't until I've spoke to like, guitarist friends or other friends who music friends who play guitar, they're like, that's a bit weird that we just instantly start writing a song when you barely even know how to play the guitar. Um, so yeah, it's I think for me, I try to dive into personal experience, personal scenarios, and Pablo is definitely one of them. Yeah, it's a song that hits home. It's about my best
Mhm.
friend who I went to
Mhm.
college with, and I didn't see him for 6 years. After he went back to his home country, he had a lot of trouble trying to get back. And but it's all a kind of happy ending, cheery song in the end because
Yeah.
he surprised me a couple of years ago, just walking through the door. I never thought I'd see him again, so it
Oh.
was great. It was cool.
And I bet like a writing experience like that is very raw as well, like all that
Yeah.
emotion.
Yeah, 100%. I think it was. I remember initially writing it in the moment of when he first arrived back, and I was just on
Yeah.
the cloud. I was on like, it felt like I was in a bit on a cloud nine, really, just thinking,
Mhm.
I've finally got my long time best friend back after so long, and
Mhm.
just kind of one of the first times I think I've ever written just expressing kind of positive things really because I think it's easy
Yeah.
to draw as a songwriter it's easiest I think to definitely draw on bad experiences and try and
Yeah.
get sadness out and stuff. But
Mm.
if it's the other way around, it's the first time I've ever done that, which is cool.
Yeah, great stuff.
Yeah.
Who would you say has been your main inspiration behind your music?
Um, I think me personally, like I love a lot of people. I really, really like Paolo Nutini. He's a
Mhm.
massive Paolo fan. I know he's the kind of guy who does a lot of touring and then tends to go away for a little bit. So
Disappear.
it's yeah, disappear for a while. So it's really hard to. It's like one of the hardest people to bump into.
Yeah.
Um, but definitely, yeah, Paolo Nutini, Kelly Jones at Stereophonics. I was really fortunate to
Mm,
be able to tour with them this year and just kind of meet him and be able to chat with him on a regular basis and spend
hmm.
time with them on tour on the road and see how they do it. That was cool. And then I think just in terms of my hometown, Paul Rogers,
Yeah.
it was in Bad Company and stuff, just because he's broke out of a similar, the same scenario as what
Mm,
I'm in and how I've grown up. And to see someone be able to just go on and achieve, everything they want to achieve, with no barriers or no limitations, it's like it's exactly what I want to continue as a bit of a legacy, I think, for anyone that comes
yeah.
before me as well.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Great stuff. So would you say if you had to describe your music, how would you describe it? Like what do you think makes your music
Yeah.
stand out?
It's kind of it's British indie mixed with a lot of
Mm,
country and folk influence, and it's storytelling based off
hmm.
upbringing from the industrial northeast of England. So it's got elements, it's a bit of a kind of combination of a lot of things: pop, folk, country, alternative, I guess. But then it's got a real kind of raw, honest, kind of soulful um, sort of melody to a lot of what I do, and a lot of real honest songwriting as
Mm,
well that goes into it. So it's like a nice little packaged combination
yeah.
of quite, I guess, a packaged combination of classic elements and then mixed in with, it's 2025, and I'm a guy in the north, based in the northeast of England, singing about his upbringing. So
Mm,
talk about sing about things that are current and stuff.
yeah. Keeping up with the day to
Just
day.
yeah, just stuff that
Yeah.
I've been well, just trying well, just things that I've been through, experiences that I've had in my
Mm,
upbringing. So it's like that's one thing I guess that can never really be taken away from an artist. No
yeah.
one else can write about it because they haven't had the same situations or
Yeah.
scenarios. That's what I love about songwriting. So
Yeah.
tying that in to yeah, to everything else with what I do.
Brilliant. And are there any people in your life, like present in your life, that you think have inspired you to strive to where you are now?
Well, yeah, my manager is unbelievable. Um,
Mm.
my manager, I have as many women in my life that I really hold closely and have to champion because I think a lot of my drive and determination is built around women in my life, to be honest.
Mm.
Not to just completely dismiss the men in my life. They're great as well, but I mean, my manager is Chelsea Wood, my mother as well. I've always, and my partner as well. I've always been surrounded by. I think the women closest to me have always been. It's the wording of everything when you go in after something. There's never been. It's never been like if or but. It's always been like when,
Yeah,
which I feel like even just saying out loud subconsciously will have a giant impact and
yeah,
has had an impact on me because it's like just sort of little things like that where the people closest to you have always, if they've got this ridiculous sense of confidence towards you achieving what you're setting out to achieve, it's really difficult for you to go the opposite way.
mm, yeah.
Uh,
But it sounds like you've had some really strong reinforcements behind you. But has there ever been times throughout your career where you've maybe experienced like negativity or bullying for the career that you try like that you're pursuing?
get it every day, really, every other day. Get a bit of abuse online.
Mm,
I just literally yesterday morning woke up to like a horrendous message. But it's like no, well, it wasn't even a message. It was a comment. It was an open comment on a video. But for me, it's like it's kind of good because it's like you don't. For me, it sounds a bit weird for me to say, but it's actually quite funny and quite good because it makes me kind of realize there's that much momentum going on,
Mm.
and I'm getting out there that much to so many people that people are feeling comfortable enough to do it because
That, yeah.
people will never leave abuse or put their insecurities and the difficulties they're having in their life. They'll never project that onto people where they're the only people commenting. That's what I find
Yeah.
a lot of the time. It's when they need comfort, they need the comfort of trying to be within a mass of people that are
Mm.
engaging with something. So for me, it's like, yeah, there's a step up happening here. It's like it's inevitable, you know what I mean? It's inevitable,
Yeah.
and it's like for
Yeah.
me, it's like I come from an acting background and a theatre background where I think the first most precious and most sensitive years of my life, from a late teenager to like early 20s, um, were just filled with like just thousands and thousands of like rejections that weren't
Mm.
even unexplained or rejections without feedback. So for that, I think that's either going to send you one or two ways. It's either going to make you quit and destroy your mental health, or it's going to create like you know an artist who's got the kind of thick skin of Iron Man,
Mm.
which is kind of what I've ended up as really.
Yeah. So to follow on from that, since it's such a challenging industry, I'm sure there's maybe been times where you've had mental health struggles and anxiety with stuff like that. How do you overcome that, especially in this industry?
Yeah, all the time. I've been through so many dips of ups and downs. I try and help as many people as I possibly can as well who reach out to me even now. There's a lot of people I try and mentor who, have approached me on social media and stuff because
Mm.
I can see so many people being in similar situations of where I've been. And it's only really gotten to this year where I'm about 4 or 5 years like three proper proper like full on years into my career, um, in terms of like, my solo project. But I think what I've only really just learned, the power of really kind of formulating some kind of routine that puts you first and can allow you to look after yourself. And
Mm.
hats off to the Stereophonics for that, because I think it's the first time I've been able to spend a lot of time with, artists of the highest possible level,
Yeah.
um, and seeing how they do it. And it's like the opposite of what's glamorized on film and TV, as fun as that
Mm.
looks. As fun as that looks, and as much as it's glamorized, it's like, you know, it's all right. It's all fine and well, kind of being this like rock and roll and all that. But then, when the tour finishes, you're all right. You ended up in like a rehab or ruining the entire tour or canceling everything. It's just not the reality of it.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, and it's like, it's just something you kind of have to realize once you get there. I mean, for me, it was a huge turning point in my mental health when I just started to look after myself a lot more.
Yeah.
Um, just in terms of watching, it can be as easy as eating, exercising a lot more, not drinking all the time.
Mm.
Um, just kind of treating touring and treating my career as I would any other career. It shouldn't be the same. Music shouldn't be any different to any other career. You wouldn't turn up to, you know, Asda as a checkout person, absolutely obliterated. Because you did instantly get sacked. So,
Yeah.
and you
I'm
wouldn't
sure
be
some
able to, you
people have
would
tried it.
probably, yeah, you wouldn't be able to last either, would you? So it's like, it's just glorified a little bit in music because
Yeah.
we're constantly surrounded by people who want to have a good time. But then you got to kind of realize those people are having a good time night in night, for one night.
Mm.
You've got to then continue that night
Yeah.
every single night for a long
Mm.
period of time. There's no time to chill. So it's like you just got to be really careful.
Mm.
Mm.
And so we touched already on social media and the positive impacts and the hateful sides of it. Um, How do you think you've used social media, especially maybe through COVID and the pandemic, like you said earlier? How have you used that to enhance your career?
Yeah, I think it's about just really being aware of when you're using it too much or using it in the wrong way. For me, it's all good and well for people to be like, if you're struggling with it or you find yourself like doom scrolling too much, just go off it. But it's like it's my biggest asset and my biggest tool for
Mm,
marketing. And it ends up being a lot of people's biggest asset and biggest tool. So I think it's just about using it and not letting it use you.
mm,
Um, but always being able to always check yourself for that. Um, whether it's as simple as setting up like a screen timer app or whatever, where it kind of just doesn't. I don't know whether people might use that, but it's like the type of apps that don't let you go on it for a prolonged amount of time and stuff.
mm.
Because that's like it might, even if it doesn't stop you from going on, it kind of reminds you why you've set it up. So you're not
Yeah.
just using it aimlessly for no reason. You can kind of keep in the mindset of, no, I'm using this as a tool, so like I can just get it, be on it and get off it again. I
Mm.
feel like that's really important, and that's how I've kind of got myself around it. I feel like, don't get me wrong, I've slipped into bouts of, just you go on endless kind of doom scrolls and stuff and find yourself on there just with no recollection of what you've just done for the last 4 hours. But it's that's what they're designed to do. So I think
Mm.
the moment you can, and the amount of times you can really check yourself and remind yourself, or realize, oh, hang on a minute, am I doom scrolling here? Am I using this in the right way? The better you'll be.
Mm. Yeah. And
Mm.
would you agree that, especially within the music industry, it's important to utilize social media as marketing, as everything, like you said?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of them, isn't it? Where I feel like we've gone through different ages, haven't we? We've gone through like the age of information, which was, you know, when the internet first came around, which I wasn't really aware of. I was too young, but I'm aware of it. And now it feels like we're in the age of kind of, I don't know, it's like response, isn't it? Or kind of keeping people, it's like the age of engagement, I guess, for me.
Mm. Yeah.
It's definitely the age of engagement. It's like how it's because we've got too much information now. It's like now it's all about how do I kind of get people engaged into what I'm doing. It's really difficult. Um, so I think, yeah, it's just a bit of a, it's just a bit about being aware of that as well, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how important was it when you were progressing at the beginning of your career to find people that were kin to the music that you were looking to produce at the time?
Yeah, I went through so many dips and kind of, I guess, so many ups and downs with my own artist journey and figuring out who I was, still am, on that journey. I don't think it really ever ends because artists try and kind of pocket themselves into, just one thing and stick with that and only be that, whether that be sonically, musically, um, branding. But it's like I'm growing as a human as I'm growing as an artist,
Mm.
and things can kind of shift and change, and new influences come in. Um, and I think it's important to just kind of do what you enjoy, do what you love, do what your gut tells you to do instinctively, but just make sure that you do it well.
Hmm.
I think is the most important thing. And the right people, the right fans will stick with you,
Yeah.
regardless, because people tend to, the fans of your music, but I think what turns someone into a proper super fan is when they can actually build that connection with you as a person as well and
Yeah,
see what's
definitely.
behind the music. And I'm very fortunate enough to experience quite a lot of that a lot of the time with a lot of people. I'm really grateful for, and for me, it's like, yeah, it just makes everything worthwhile and worth pursuing.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
So music aside, what do you do in your free time? What's your like release from music? Like you say, when you've been touring and stuff, what are your hobbies that you go to?
Yeah, really like to go to the gym a lot. got into paddle recently as well because a couple of my mates started jumping on that. I haven't played as much as I want to, but I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed going to the gym with my mate as well, just kind of keeping on top of health and fitness. Like I've really just like doing wholesome stuff really. I feel like I need a bit of wholesome in my life when I've been touring and had this bit of like this chaotic mental life. It's really nice to have the yin yang kind of balance. So I try and do as much sort of wholesome stuff as I possibly can. I've got, a beautiful dog that I could take on lovely walks with my partner. So we were surrounded by it in the northeast here in Middlesbrough, we're surrounded by lots of unbelievable walks. Um,
Hmm.
just spend a bit of time with my mates, go out every so often, going out in the club with my dad and his mates, watch my local football team who I support, Middlesbrough FC. Um, and I like taking a little bit of a break into the cities every now and then as well, just on the train, whether it be I'm in London quite a lot anyway, but my Manchester, Newcastle, just get the train down really from Darlingham, which is around the corner from me, have some days out or whatever. Um, and yeah, try and just kind of I think what I seek when I finish touring or when I finish like a really kind of heavy campaign where I've just non-stop work, what I kind of seek out is just simplicity more than anything else. Because if I don't, then it's just a very vicious kind of spiral downwards because it's like there's no time to breathe at all. And I've only kind of been learning that this year as well. Because don't get me wrong, I went out around Europe for the first time this year, and coming home, I did struggle for a bit because it was just like I'd been in a kind of simulation. It was a lot to take in.
Mm,
And it took a little bit of time to take in, but then I think once I kind of figured it out a bit, as I figured it out and soaked it all in, and then could move forward. Now it's like I kind of feel a little bit kind of unbreakable now in
yeah.
terms of if nothing really can will phase me again. Now I kind of get it, probably get it now. It's good.
And what would you say your biggest challenge has been like throughout your career so far?
Uh, I think just I had a long period of just kind of grinding to the point where it was just endless traveling around in my car all around the UK, making zero money, um, just kind of in the pursuit of wanting to build momentum and grow myself as an artist and grow my fan base, but with no one around me at the time, because I hadn't done enough really for the right people to even know who I was. And that was a real looking back now, I'm really glad I did it, but I think it's one of them where it's like it was such an endless kind of relentless pursuit, um, that was borderline just a little bit mental in terms of how much I was actually doing and the mileage I was doing and what I was doing it for, in terms of like it just wasn't sustainable. But the only thing that came out of it that I'm really grateful for was the exposure and the momentum that I was able to build that brought the right people towards me. So it did work
Mm,
in the end. But I think looking back, I wouldn't really put it on anyone starting out because I don't know. I was looking back, it was like, yeah, it was basically of a lot of pursuit towards something that just had zero guarantee at all, and
mm,
a lot of my 20s spent just tunnel vision onto something that I think if it hadn't have really started to work, especially by now, if it hadn't have really, if I hadn't have started, things hadn't started to happen and the right people had started to come on board, then would have found myself in a really tricky situation by now, I think, if I'd
mm.
because I just put all my eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
Um, Zero plan B, no plan C, nothing. But I'm really grateful I did.
Yeah, yeah. And like you said earlier, I'm sure that having the pandemic gave you took away some of that tunnel vision and kind of allowed you to figure out what you wanted to focus on.
Yeah, I think that's what turned sort of the focus I had into actual strategy a little bit
Mm,
more, and that's
yeah.
what really helped. Because I think, but don't get me wrong, I think from the pandemic as well. Well, was just a bit of a continuation from for another couple of years before I even met my manager. Of just
Mm,
kind of like a bit of a headless chicken, I guess, metaphorically speaking, just doing everything I possibly could wherever I possibly could, regardless of the consequences financially or just making moves that weren't really smart or sustainable. But then it kind of paid off, fortunately, because I was able to build my name and myself as an artist enough to for for Chelsea, my manager, to come on board, and then I'll actually start putting plan and structure into my career and move it forward in the right ways. So it's all work. It's all like kind of weird. It's weird how it's all worked, but it's all linked,
Mm.
linked really well.
And so my final question, I know that you've got an almost sold out headline tour coming up, which is very exciting.
Yeah.
What are you working on currently?
So yeah, I've actually been in every single day this month, nearly, bar like 3 days, in the studio. I've got like a home studio built in Newcastle, a producer, and sort of writing partner as well, and Matt Walsh, who plays in my band as well, plays multiple instruments in my band. When we're out on the road, we have been in every day, just collaborating and putting ideas down. Well, I've had a ton of ideas that I've had for a while because it's been a long time before this month since I've really sat down and wrote a lot of music. Um, just because we've been touring and stuff and festival season and all that, so it's been good to kind of take all the ideas off my
Mm.
phone and then put them into full songs now and get as many demos done as possible. So we've got a big backlog of songs now. Um, they're the very minimum in a demo form. So it's going to be really cool to kind of, I've got Pablo coming out, the next single,
Mm.
in the 14th of November. And then it's going to be a nice segue into some more new music coming um, very early next year, which I'm really, really, really excited about. It's going to be good. It's going to be a good
Yeah,
year.
it's very
Yeah.
exciting times,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah. It's
bet you're
going to be
very
good.
excited for the upcoming tour as well.
Yeah, I can't wait. Yeah, thanks to everyone. Thanks to anyone who's bought tickets. It's gonna be awesome. There's still some tickets left, but the very last tickets are Middlesbrough Empire on the 14th of November, um, for Cardiff as well, and for Dublin. And then I think there's literally about a handful of tickets left for Manchester, and then the whole tour is sold out. Um, so yeah, I'm really, really
Yeah,
looking forward to it.
what an achievement that is as well.
Yeah, yeah, it's good.
Well, it's been
Yeah,
such a
so
pleasure chatting with you today, and thank you for joining us again.
no, thanks for having me.
No, it's been a great first interview for me.
Yeah.